Hello and welcome to Dawn Chorus Writes, a Miraculous Ladybug fanfiction and audiofiction. This is the series A Miraculous Fairy Tale, Secrets Under the Moon. So I hope you're enjoying it so far. This is chapter 11. Massive shout out and thank you to Arctaza for her beautiful, stunning commissioned artwork in the thumbnail. All her information is down below, so go and send her some love. Send me some love by smashing that like button. Comment down below what you think of it and what will happen next, and make sure you subscribe so you do not miss out on future parts and other series and other one-shots. And I hope you enjoy. Chapter 11. Cat paced back and forth along the pavement, curling his fingers into fists and releasing them. What should he say to his princess? What was his answer? He knew what his heart wanted to say, but his head was louder, speaking words of doubt and logic. At this angle, he could see a shadow and a glimpse of her face as she leant over the railing. He knew that look all too well. She was processing a problem and getting stuck on the merry-go-round in her head. In the past, he would present her with one of her teas, encourage her to lean back against his chest, knowing his breath would sink in with hers as he rubbed circles on her temples, smelling in the sweet scent of her hair. He gripped onto the side of the railing, pressing the cold steel into his paw, hard enough to transfer the pain from his heart to a place he could heal. Would this desperation in missing her ever go away? Or does he risk it all, one last chance, and say yes? Oh, how much he wanted to jump up to her and declare he would be the proudest person in the world to stand next to her, to dance with her, to watch her newish creation shimmer under the twinkling lights, ignoring the pit of guilt that she had to go through this display, knowing she should be in her final year of design school, that they had been planning for the future where Marinette Du Pang Chang Agress would be a household name. Well, once he said, I do. In merely a week, everything had been ready, and then this happened. Oh, why does he keep tormenting himself with countless what-ifs? With what life should look like now, instead of the reality of the situation? And yet, she was remembering. Dazzy had confirmed it after she had left, after he had asked her to leave her own home. But he could no longer tell what was the right path. She had ran from him only to come back and find him. But which version of him was she searching for? The former Adrian he no longer recognized? Or Kat, her kitty? Was it possible she was growing feelings for him? But which him? He had wanted to prove Felix wrong, that Kat could be loved by Marinette just as much as Adrian. But he no longer knew if that was right. Would the spell even break if she loved the former image of himself, but not Kat? There was too many questions and not enough answers, apart from one. He couldn't attend the gala, not with Felix there. The cost would be too great to them both. He had to tell her no. He scrambled onto a nearby ledge, then leapt 2 feet, landing on the roof tiles adjacent to a balcony. He shouldn't be here. She should be asleep. And yet, he needed to be close to her, to protect her as long as he was able. A chilling cry called out, filling the air around him. Marinette! In 2 moves, he soared around her chimney and was yanking a skylight open. In the darkness, he could make out Marinette's hands pulling at her face, struggling to breathe. Princess! he called out, grabbing hold of her hands, clenching them against his chest. "Breathe for me! I have you!" Her body began to relax into his voice and touch, leaning in against him. One at a time, he let go of her hand whilst wrapping his arms around her, his heart pounding in his chest. Feeling her this close once more, the scent of her skin and hair was stronger due to the cat abilities. Her breathing slowed as she pressed harder against him, her head nuzzling into her former spot. "Adrian?" she whispered against his fur. Oh, how his heart shattered at her use of his former name. "I'm here, princess. I'll always be here for you," he said softly. Oh, he meant the words with every fibre of his being. In her dreams, nightmare, she wanted, needed him. Tears streamed through the channels of the fur on his face, dripping onto her cheek, knowing he should let her go, to release her, and yet he couldn't. He wanted to be her Adrian again. He wanted to stay with her as long as she needed him. The warmth of the sunshine soaked into her skin as if it surrounded her in a gentle hug. Her fingers caressed the strands of tall grass, but they felt soft. This wasn't the dream the voice inside her head was telling her. The gentle touch of his fingers skimming across her cheek bridged the gap between the dream world and reality. She focused in on the soothing sensation of the water droplets being smeared from one side to another, until a rogue drip landed on her lips. Rain tasted like salt. She had called out to Adrian in her dream, and he had answered her. The familiar scent that had lingered in her thoughts days after meeting her kitty for the first time now flooded her senses. Was it possible? Her kitty had saved her once again, dragging her out of the darkness and back into the light, making her feel safe as he curled his arms around her. Keeping her eyes shut, she shifted against him, her fingers running across the cotton of his black hoodie until it reached the coolness of his leather. This was real. Over the past couple of days, the flashing images tap dancing through her mind had brought her sharp pain, confusion, loss, fear, whilst her kitty brought safety, light, tenderness. Although, no, she couldn't be, not so soon. She wasn't in love with her kitty. She was simply embracing this moment of not being alone. "Sweet dreams, my princess," he breathed into her ear. He arched backwards, sliding his arm out from under her. "No, kitty, please stay." Her fingers curled around the leather, pulling him back in. She couldn't define it, didn't want to explain the reason. She just knew she needed him close. His breath tickled the top of her head as he sighed. "Princess, I need to leave before the sun rises." Snaking his arm back around her waist, stroking his hand along her shoulder blades. "You have hours until then. Please stay. For a little while longer, kitty." He was edging back in as she rested her head against his chest, hearing his heart dancing. "But why? Why did you come in the first place? Why come to my rescue? Why wrap me in your arms?" She peeled her eyes open, the moonlight casting shadows on his face, but his green eyes, his emerald eyes shone back at her. "Because..." He tried to mouth out the words but failed, the frustration evident in his face. Because you called me Kitty. But before in your dream, you called out to Adrian. Because you needed me. She lowered her eyes, unable to cope with the all-consuming stare he was giving her. Why do I need you so much? Why do I yearn for you to be close? Why have I these images, memories of a man who I shared moments with? Why does he look like... The name faltered on her lips, not wanting to speak his name in such a moment. Silence. A heart pounding, not sure what to say next. Silence fell over them. She cast a gaze upwards. Kitty was locked on the image of her little lamb next to her bed, closing his mouth as the words failed him. After speaking to Dazzy, she wondered how much of him refusing to answer her questions came from him or from the spell. Have you thought about my request? Would you be there for me? At the gala? Her hand reached up, avoiding his whiskers, and stroked along his cheek, the soft fur running through her fingers. But it was his eyes. Those were the constant green beacon calling her back in. He leaned into her touch and discovered the damp streams in small channels from his tears. His eyes glistened in the edges, but not from love and happiness, no. The same pain and loneliness was reflected back at her. How can I, my princess? Everyone seeing this? Someone like me shouldn't be possible in this world. But it is a spell which changed your look. But I know, underneath this kind, thoughtful, beautiful man. She felt him take a deep breath, noticed how it caught in his throat. Your words mean the world to me, princess, but magic has no place in this reality, and I wouldn't do anything that would deflect attention from your night. I want nothing more, for you to get everything you deserve. In that moment, she wanted nothing more than to cup his face and ask him what he deserved. What did he want? To ask the impossible question, who was she to him? Instead, she shifted awkwardly. Her hand dropped from his face as she curled it back towards her chest and protected her heart. Why was this so hard now between them, when in her memories it didn't feel that way? Oh, she understood what he was trying to say with regards to how others would react, and yet the disappointment, the rejection, was all too real. I get it. It makes sense. Her voice drifted off, exposing her feelings. What was she meant to say? That his words made sense in this new world which nothing made sense. He removed his arm from around her shoulder and felt the loss of his warmth, shuffling himself away from her. Suddenly the gap they had closed opened up again. I had better let you sleep. He paused. I'm sorry. I wish... Anyway, forcing back her own tears. Kitty? Her hand brushed over his, hesitating at taking hold of it. She cast a gaze up, glancing through her lashes, tugging at her bottom lip. Thank you for being there for me. Kat leaned in and kissed her gently on her forehead, closing her eyes to her aching heart. Always, my... By the time she peeled her lids open again, he was gone. Plague! Enough with the lecture! I will not trap Marinette into loving me, and yes, before I thought if she remembered who I was, would make things easier, but now I'm not too sure. Cat dug his claws into the back of his armchair, the heat of the fire failing to give him the warmth he desired. The black creature of his friend glared at him. But if she remembers loving you once before, it might help her love you now, he growled. Adrian, we are running out of time, and this isn't just about you. All our lives are at risk. Don't you think I know that? It's my actions which cause us all to be cursed. Will you both stop shouting at each other? Tiki zoomed into the room and stopped between the two of them, shooting daggers at one another. It is doing no good, and Adrian, this isn't your fault. But yes, the pressure is on you to save us all. So you can't keep thinking only of Marinette's happiness. Because if we break this curse, then all of us will get to be free and happy once more. Tiki, Cat sighed. I don't know which path is the right one to take. If I may, Dazzy popped her head around the study door but didn't wait for a response. That monster cursed you believing that Marinette would never love a beast, that he would win, imitating you, and for a while, I think it was working. The look on her face when she had a memory, there was a look of confusion and pain, but also love, Tiki added in. Dazzy stared into his face, waiting for the connection to be made. I had guessed that might have been the case when I saw Felix the other day. That she was seeing me in her thoughts, but seeing my brother look like me? But how could she even think who she was imagining was him? Put yourself in her shoes, Adrian. How would you see it? How confused would you be? Plag glared at him, crossing his paws. That's why she ran away from me. On the date? The group of his little friends nodded their heads at him. But she knows now. She has called me Adrian, and the sound she places into my name might mean she feels for the man I used to be. However, that does not mean she has feelings for the man, the beast that I am now. And to be honest, we don't know if the curse will break if she can't see behind the image and love the person I am now. Oh, I think she is lost between the past and the present, Tiki huffed. Exactly. Then show her, kid. Who are you now? You are holding back, hoping to protect her, but also protecting yourself. Can you blame me? What if she rejects who I am? What if Felix wins? You are letting that monster win by not giving it a chance. Trust Marinette. Trust yourself. Trust the love you still have. I've seen how she looks at you. Just before you kicked her out. Dazzy opened her eyes wide. Adrian, she remembers the orangery. Us buying the chairs together. The chats we had. She knows about the roses. He shot a challenging look from Plag to Tiki to Dazzy. So you think I should attend the gala like this? You saw how my brother reacted at the mere rumour of being nearby the bakery. If he saw me with her, thinking he might lose could cause him to react. No, that would be plain stupid, kid. No, what you need to do is a grand gesture. Show her that Cat, the person you are now, is worthy of being loved just as much as Adrian. Cat rolled his eyes. What gesture could prove that when he wasn't sure himself? I think I might have a plan, Daisy shot him a playful smirk, causing him to instantly regret what she had planned for him.
But you need to follow my instructions down to the letter.
Cat slowly nodded his head. This was it. He would do this. Expose his heart one last time. For his friends. For Marinette. For himself. The following night, as Marinette climbed onto a balcony to take a breather from the sewing, she discovered a single rose on her coffee table and a note. Princess, please do me the honor at agreeing to meet me at 10 p.m. in the park on the night of the gala. Always, your Kitty. She lifted the rose to her nose, absorbing the scent and the softness of the petals against her lips as she read the note for the third time, deciding what her answer should be whilst her heart skipped a beat. Thank you for listening to chapter 11. Make sure you stay tuned for chapter 12, which will be coming very soon. It will include the whole big gala moment, so make sure you look out for that. Make sure you smash the like button if you enjoyed this chapter. It really helps with the algorithm and it helps to support this channel. Make sure you subscribe so you do not miss out on future parts, future chapters, one-shots, other series that are happening at the moment. And I hope you are all good, and I will speak to you soon. Bye.